Let me tell you what I think should be gone. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jermell Charlo already proved that because he couldn't let it go. Bud Crawford needs to let it go. Too small.
And I have no doubt, pure boxing skill against pure boxing skill, Crawford could outduel anybody. My question is once you're not concerned about his power, what then? We need to see Canelo in the ring with a level of power he has to respect, so we can see both his power and his boxing magnificence on a level competing against somebody who is supposed to be on the same level.
Yep,
Otherwise,
absolutely.
Stephen A. Smith has recently cautioned Terence Crawford not to fight Canelo Alvarez because he thinks Crawford is too tiny for Canelo. However, Stephen A. Smith thinks Crawford would be the better boxer, despite the fact that Canelo is an experienced fighter with approximately 65 fights. Smith thinks Crawford's boxing abilities would challenge him. But Smith also says Crawford has never faced someone as strong as Canelo. He thinks Crawford would struggle to keep Canelo away if he couldn't damage him. Crawford thinks this is a legacy fight and wants to demonstrate his ability to defeat someone on Canelo's level. Smith pointed out that Crawford hasn't faced many big names because of the way the boxing business works, and that Crawford is more of a victim than a terrible guy.
I think my initial reaction would be to say that I think that Crawford would be the superior boxer, as great as Canelo is, the seasoned as he is, with 65 fights, if I recall, on his record. I think boxing-wise, he's going to give Canelo fits. Don't believe he can hurt Canelo. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer. But if he can't hurt Canelo, you can't keep him off of him. He says it's a legacy fight, and he believes he can do the same, and he wants to do the same against a fighter the caliber of Canelo Alvarez, which is why we haven't really seen him in the ring against anybody else. Fortunately, that's the business of boxing. He's a victim of it.
Moreover, Jim Lampley stated he likes Canelo Alvarez in a bout against Bud Crawford, but accepted that may change as the fight approaches. He described it as a matchup and compared Crawford to Sugar Ray Robinson, saying Crawford has similar all-around abilities. He commended Crawford's ability to switch between defense and offense, as well as his inner toughness, which he can call upon when appropriate. Lampley recalled that before Crawford fought Errol Spence, many in the boxing media backed Spence, but Lampley disagreed, saying Spence lacked Crawford's in-depth knowledge of boxing.
I'm against Bud Crawford, but I do think that it's a great fight. Now, I could change my mind when we get closer. Bud Crawford, to me, is a latter-day Sugar Ray Robinson. He has the multiple skills of Sugar Ray Robinson. He can defend or attack. He has a deep inner mean streak that he can employ at any moment in a fight to get what he wants. Before the fight against, help me out here,
Madrimov was his last fight. Spence?
Spence.
Yes.
Before the fight against Errol Spence, there were quite a lot of people in the sport, in boxing media, who were saying, I like Spence to win the fight. I was one of those people who said, no way. Errol Spence doesn't have the depth.
He labeled Crawford as one of the best professionals of his time, ranking him alongside Canelo Alvarez. This, according to Lampley, is what makes their possible battles so unique. He described both combatants as great masters of the sport. Knowing every part of it, he feels their fight will be not just exciting, but also a clever strategic struggle between two of boxing's top minds. Lampley said he can't wait to see what happens.
The intellectual understanding of prize fighting to beat Terence Crawford, who is the great professional of his era, along with Canelo Alvarez. That's why that's such a great fight. They are the two living, practicing ultra professionals in the sport. They know it inside out. And one way or another, it's going to be a spectacular intellectual matchup of two great ring strategists.
Stephen A. Smith, on the other hand, voiced strong opposition to Crawford fighting Canelo. He stated Crawford is the finest pound-for-pound boxer in the world, and while Canelo is also a top fighter, there is a major size differential. Canelo fights at 168 pounds, which means he is substantially heavier than Crawford, and Smith thinks this weight difference unfairly affects the bout.
I don't like it one bit. I think that Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. I think that Canelo is one of those folks. But Canelo is fighting at 168, which means he's walking around heavier.
Stephen A. Smith went on to say that when it comes to pure boxing skill, Crawford could outbox anyone, but he wondered what happens when an opponent isn't worried about Crawford's power. He thinks Canelo should face someone with enough power to make him nervous so that viewers can truly see both his strength and boxing brilliance tested at the greatest level. Smith said that if Crawford cannot provide that kind of danger, the bout may not feature either man at his best, and spectators would lose out.
No doubt, pure boxing skill against pure boxing skill, Crawford could outduel anybody. My question is once you're not concerned about his power, what then? We need to see Canelo in the ring with a level of power he has to respect, so we can see both his power and his boxing magnificence on a level competing against somebody who is supposed to be on the same level.
Yep.
Otherwise,
absolutely.
Furthermore, Danny Garcia mentioned that Crawford has been active and a champion throughout his career. He stated that Crawford has held a belt since 2012 and has always had the mindset of a champion. Garcia praised Crawford's progress, but acknowledged that stepping up to 168 pounds is a major challenge. While he thinks Crawford possesses the necessary talents, he believes Canelo will prove too much for him in the end.
Has been active, and he's been a champion his whole career. You know, that's something you got to give Crawford for. You got to give Crawford his flowers. He's really been a champion since 2012. You know, has never not been a champion. So he has the champion's mindset. He is going up to 168, so that's a steep hill to climb. You know, I mean, he has the tools, but I think Canelo's gonna. My personal opinion, I think Canelo's gonna be too much for him.
Gervonta Davis mentioned that if he had to choose, he would go with Canelo because of the weight differential, which makes it difficult to go up several weight classes. However, he also stated that if anyone could handle it, it would be Terence Crawford since he is extremely skilled, well-rounded, and flexible in the ring. Davis thinks Canelo will be completely prepared and motivated for this bout, and fans will witness the best of both fighters. He went on to say that Crawford is putting himself to the test with this challenge, and that if he wins, it will cement his place as one of the best of all time.
If I have to pick, if I had to pick out Canelo, just because of the weight disparity, you know, it's tough moving up that many weight classes. But if anybody could do it, it'll be Terence Crawford. You know, he's talented. He's a great fighter. He does everything well. He adjusts well. He has the mindset. Canelo's gonna come prepared. I think he's gonna be totally motivated for this fight. I think we're gonna see like a great Canelo. I think we're gonna see a great Crawford. He's trying to test himself and be the greatest. Like, I mean, if he wins this fight, I mean, he enters that GOAT conversation. So.
Joe Diaz thinks Terence Crawford, his favorite and finest pound-for-pound fighter, will be unable to defeat Canelo Alvarez. He said that Crawford is going up from 147 pounds to fight at 168 pounds, and that while he may perform well for a few rounds, the size and power differences will eventually catch up. Diaz says Canelo has taken punches from big fighters such as Gennady Golovkin without getting wounded, but he feels if Canelo falls on Crawford, he will hurt him.
I mean, there is no way that Terence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, I mean, the best fighter pound for pound, can be Canelo. I mean, a 147-pounder moving up to 68, I mean, he can only maybe go 2-3 rounds, and then Canelo hits him and he hurts him. Canelo's being hit by Triple G, the hardest hitter in the division, and never hurt him. But Canelo will hit Crawford and he'll hurt.
Diaz compared it to when Demetrius Andrade stepped up to meet David Benavidez. Andrade looked sharp at first, but as the weight gap became more significant, the fight became one-sided. He claimed Crawford is similar to Andrade and highly skilled, but the physical difference is just too great. He underlined that once the natural weight edge is established, the fight changes. Diaz feels Crawford cannot win against Canelo, who is naturally bigger and stronger. He went on to say that this fight is more about business, suggesting that Crawford's biggest fan only wants him to make a lot of money. Diaz thinks it is not a fair matchup, but rather a business play.
This way, you remember the fight Benavidez and Demetrius Andre? Yes. Demetrius Andre was a great fighter. Nobody wanted to fight him at 54. He moved to 60. Fought 1 or 2. Nobody wanted to fight him at 60. So what did he do? He moved up to 68 because there was nothing for him to fight Benavidez, a big fighter like that. I mean, look what he did in the first early round. Demetrius Andre was in control. He was doing great. But once that weight starts kicking in, it gets over. There is no way that Crawford can beat Canelo. I mean, Turkey on the sheet. It's a big fan of Terence Crawford. Who wants to give him a good payday? Simple as that. That's all it is, man.
Yaron Bannis also thinks Canelo Alvarez has the advantage over Terence Crawford. He emphasized that Canelo has proven his ability to take blows from bigger competitors while still delivering strong shots that cause harm. Some of Canelo's previous opponents have entered the ring significantly heavier after weigh-ins, and he has still been able to hurt them. And he thinks that kind of strength offers Canelo a significant advantage, which is one of the main reasons he prefers him in a fight versus Crawford.
You gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been putting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So
Keith Thurman thinks Terence Crawford has a solid chance of defeating Canelo Alvarez, but only if he pushes his training beyond its customary limitations. He feels Crawford should take things to the next level, working out in difficult situations such as high altitudes and focusing on improving every part of his training, both physically and psychologically. Thurman thinks Crawford must improve his awareness in the ring, stay mentally ahead, and anticipate every conceivable scenario before it occurs.
I don't want to say it's impossible for my boy Crawford, but it's one of those things where it needs to be planned out, trained out, and methodically, delivered on a fight night. And then the other thing is how athletic is he going to move with the extra weight on top of him. So, like I said, it's just very important to train, to have the best camp that you can have, the high altitude, get all that oxygen, and just use all those little biohacking things to your advantage, to make an upset. I mean, you're going to go home a winner.
Thurman also expressed concern that Crawford's footwork might be slowed by the increased weight, and questioned whether he would keep the same crisp movement. Still, he believes that with the proper strategy, combining current recovery science and high-level conditioning, Crawford can close the gap if everything goes into place. Thurman thinks a surprise victory is well within sight.
I'm going to counter his counter. I don't want to say it's impossible for my boy Crawford, but it's one of those things where it needs to be planned out, trained out, and methodically, delivered on a fight night. And then the other thing is how athletic is he going to move with the extra weight on top of him. So, like I said, it's just very important to train, to have the best camp that you can have, the high altitude, get all that oxygen, and just use all those little biohacking things to your advantage, to make an upset. I mean, you're going to go home a winner.
Amir Khan has shared his thoughts on a prospective fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, characterizing it as an even more entertaining and high-stakes match. He stated that, while Canelo has the edge in natural size and weight, Crawford's recent performance has injected additional intrigue to the clash. Khan thinks that knowledge in the ring, quickness, strategies, and full skill sets will be more important in determining success than just strength and size. He sees it as a battle of two of the best pound-for-pound fighters, and despite Crawford's smaller size, he expects a close and unpredictable bout that may go either way.
Made a bigger fight happen with Canelo and Crawford. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Is there more question marks being asked in that fight now? Because a lot of people say, look, Canelo's a bigger guy. He should technically be the bigger guy, have too much weight for Crawford. But from that performance, do you feel like it's a lot tighter and there's a lot more question marks in that fight?
Yeah, I mean, you need more than size, you need more than weight, you need more than everything. I mean, I think what you need now is you just need box IQ, the right box IQ, you know what I mean? You need to be smart. And someone like Canelo, fighting against Crawford, you need more than power, you need more than speed, you need ring IQ, you need literally everything, because this is the two best pound-for-pound fighters who are going to be fighting each other, even though Crawford is going to be giving away a lot of weight. But I feel that it could go either way.
Errol Spence Jr. showed a tremendous belief in Terence Crawford's ability to defeat Canelo Alvarez and achieve something extraordinary. He announced his support for Crawford and stated that he would back him in the fight, despite not knowing who would win. Spence thinks Crawford have the necessary qualities to succeed in his quest for greatness. He also stated that because Canelo had fought at 175 pounds against boxers such as Sergey Kovalev, Crawford, who began his career at 147 pounds, should be able to go up and face the task as well.
It could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford wanna challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. You know, so you know what I'm saying, I'm with it. So you know, I'll be going for Bud. You know, if he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going for Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. Yeah.
You know,
he's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and all that, and fought Kovalev and fought the other guy too. So I mean, if he can do it, and he started at 147. So I mean, if he's doing it, why can't Crawford do it?
Bannis discussed how he would teach Terence Crawford if he faced Canelo Alvarez, stressing the significance of consistent movement, ring control, and exact timing. He directed Crawford to avoid getting trapped near the ropes, to keep alert throughout the fight, and to constantly modify his rhythm to disturb Canelo's timing due to Canelo's immense power. Bannis feels Crawford must be active, use his footwork efficiently, keep a tight guard, and make smart sets to stay one step ahead throughout the match.
So, just what I would say. If I, was working with Terence or something like that, I would have him boxing, boxing, moving, and when he gets set time up, frustrating, And that's the only way I can see him, Terence beating him, Now, Canelo's a puncher, man, So you can't be laying around on the ropes 20 because he punch you in your arm and hurt you, So you gotta be on. You gotta be on. Boxing, moving, little shake here, little fake there, Hands up. Gotta be right, man. I think that's gonna be a great fight, man. People counting Terence out. I'm not counting.
Andre Ward was confident in Terence Crawford's skills to face Canelo Alvarez despite the hardship of climbing up in weight. He admitted that the weight change is challenging, but said that no one has been able to break Crawford's will or outthink him inside the ring. Ward stated that he would never bet against Crawford since no one has proven they could beat him. He made it clear that his trust in Crawford is not meant to diminish Canelo's skill, but rather to stress his belief in Crawford's ability to beat any opponent.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can.
Juan Manuel Marquez expressed concerns about the possible fight, recognizing Crawford's strong skills in lighter divisions like super lightweight, welterweight, and super welterweight. However, Marquez questioned whether moving up to a heavier weight would be a good choice for Crawford. He mentioned Crawford's fight against Madrimov, where Crawford seemed slower and less powerful, suggesting that fighting in a higher weight class might be tough for him. Although Marquez praised Crawford's defense and punching skills, he believes the weight difference could give Canelo a clear edge. I don't like the fight because Terence is a good fighter, but in the sport of boxing we has divisions, you know what I mean, right weight class, weight classes for a reason, weight classes for real, and is a good fighter in super lightweight, welterweight, super welterweight fought a team more. I remember when Terence Crawford fought with Madrimov, yes, he looks slow, he looks with no power and 3 more divisions, more 3 to more divisions. I think it's a tough fight for Terence Crawford as a fighter with a defense and a variety of punches, but I think this weight class is not for him. Caleb Plant lauded both competitors, pointing up Crawford's exceptional skills and remarkable ability to adjust during a fight. He praised Crawford's ability to change his stance and throw powerful punches from a variety of distances. Plant expressed excitement about the possible clash, noting that while there are many unknowns, it is the unpredictability that makes the fight so appealing to boxing fans.
not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, you know, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. You know, Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, you know, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, you know, be able to find out first thing.
So, what are your thoughts about this? Share your opinions in the comment area. And please subscribe and like if you liked it.